All right, guys, so here's the framework cluster. Video continues. Down below will be a link to our Patreon with all the STL files that you can go out and purchase yourself to 3D print this project, including the chassis, the framework cluster, or the mounts for the power supply, as well as an option for your switch. Let's continue the video. So for every single U, you can put 2 boards and 2 2.5-inch SSDs, and then I have these little pull tabs to pull them out. It is on this little frame with heated inserts and threads as shown. And then there's the SSD and the RAM on the board as well. And it has this little retention clip, so when you push them in here, they don't easily come out, right? They take a little bit of force to get these out of there. And then there's a switch, and then kind of the idea with this project is to run this power strip and have it plug into these motherboards in the back over type C. So on the very bottom here, I actually have this little 3D printed holder I made that holds these 65-watt power bricks in place. So it's kind of this all-in-one power strip, so there'll just be one main power cord coming off of this machine, and then one Ethernet cord coming off the switch in the front to kind of keep this cluster all together. And I'm going to create a Proxmox high availability cluster with these 3 once, whoops, I hit the camera, once I get in the Intel Enterprise SSDs for that Zeph cluster. So that's it. If you want to stay tuned to look at all my mistakes, keep watching. Okay, and so here it is plugged in. Not perfect, cable's coming over the top, but it's a test rig, so we're gonna go ahead and give this a shot. And then I just kind of have the cables wrapped up in their things and then plugged into the power strip. And then I have USB to these Ethernet cables plugged into the back with power. And we will get them flashed with Proxmox. So in order to flash Proxmox, I got to plug the laptop screen into them, and I have it plugged into the back of the motherboard, but because the cable is so short, I am just leaving it kind of sitting back there. And then what you do is we pull the board out. Once we have the power and everything plugged in, if I can, let me get a good angle for you guys. And so what we do is we're going to pull the board out. Try not to do it right on this corner. This little button right here is the power button. So we press that to turn it on. And push it back into its slot. And then we need to just watch this screen, wait for it to boot. This might take a couple seconds. Okay, so there comes the screen. It's booting. It's loading Proxmox right now. And Proxmox is open, or excuse me, this one has Portainer on it right now. I'm going to flash the Proxmox. I've had Proxmox on this before, but pretty much going to do the same thing where on the front here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in this Type C to USB adapter for a keyboard, and like a Bluetooth keyboard, the Logitech K400. And then on the other one, I'm going to use a Type C USB and create a bootable Proxmox ISO, and then flash to this machine, and then configure it via the panel. And then after that, I can unplug the monitor, and we won't have to bother worrying about having a monitor plugged in or anything like that. So stay tuned for that in the next video. And this is the mistakes bin. So I'm not going to be crazy long with this, but one thing that's cool about 3D printing is rapid production. Originally, I had it so the 4 power supplies were sitting vertically instead of horizontally, and there wasn't enough space in the rack where it was hitting the back of the framework motherboards. And then it's just funny, you get things like, why did I print it so thin? Why didn't I have a pull tab when I put it in there? Some of these standoffs were too close, or they didn't line up. You know, or like on this one, I didn't have any support back here, so this flexed a whole bunch, which allowed the motherboards to pop out the back instead of sitting in there securely. Some things had like tolerance issues, right? And so, you know, I'm pretty much on about 15 iteration, the 15th or so iteration, and it's not perfect, but that's what's cool about it, right? Being able to 3D print these. So if you guys want to continue to watch this framework cluster project, stay tuned.